I don't hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. Like, I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
I want to introduce this podcast as Permission to Speak Freely podcast with Damon Leggins and Damo McCullough. We are both active duty senior chiefs. I'm currently serving on the East Coast at a naval command that I will not mention because of privacy purposes. However, if you listen to the last 6 or 7 episodes, I did mention the name of that command. If you're a listener in the audience, I appreciate your listenership and I thank you. And I also realized that we never ever released the episode in which we introduced ourselves. So a little bit after Damon say whatever he's going to say, I want to take a little bit of time to introduce myself. Again, thank you for listening.
Well, I mean, you guys know who I am, so I ain't gonna get into all the introductions of myself and all that stuff. But I do want to talk real quick about text messages, man. And the reason why I want to talk, I want to talk real quick about text messages because I got called out today about my text messages, and I just want to make sure, I'm gonna start using question marks and periods and shit like that on my text message because I didn't think. It was this serious with these question marks and stuff, man. So I kind of got some confusion. So I'm gonna make sure in the future that I, punctuate and reread my text message. Because sometimes when I look back though, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna, lie about when I read. When I look back at my text message, I be like, shit. I should have freaking said something differently, but I just want to make sure and let the world know.
At hand. Let's talk about the text message at hand, the one that you referred to. the way you say.
I just said he asked. I got the question I got asked. We was doing a podcast. We had some people we are doing a podcast with, and so I didn't know who we was doing it with. So I asked. I said, "Is this the guy at my command?" Because it's the guy at my command. Hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
No, hold up. I'm gonna tell them what I was thinking. I was thinking that we was doing the podcast with the guy that's at my command. Mm-hmm. So I said, "Are we doing it?" I said, "Is this the guy at my command?" But I didn't put no question mark. I didn't put no period. I just said that. No. And then it was confusion. If I would put a question mark on it, it'll probably.
You didn't say is. You didn't say is. You said this is how the text message reads.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead and read the text message.
So I said trying to plan an episode. So I added you to a group with the guests. Right? And then it's a black thumbs up, right? It's a black finger, like a black thumb up. And then the next text is from you. It said this the dude at my command. And I said, for real? I said, for real? And then I did the dude name. And then you said, I am asking. And then that was it.
Yeah. So as I said before, I will make sure that I punctuate and I, use the English library. But yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, man! I already seen the episode. Hey, real quick.
My goodness, man.
I honestly do want to introduce myself a second for new listeners. Active duty, senior chief, electrician's mate, engineer. This is a military podcast. However, it seems to lean toward the Navy more than anything else because that's where our experience stem from. And as we go and we continue, more layers of ourselves peel back and you get to learn more about us as we go. All right, I'm going to start off with a real quick question. What's the worst thing that you want to hear at a Friday all hands call?
The worst thing I want to hear, okay.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing for me, man, is we all out there, we know it's Friday, we know we're trying to get out of there. And you hear someone come up or the captain or whoever say, well, we got to do a couple things, guys, and we're going to get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those couple things, man, who knows what those couple things are? And it never end up being that easy. Like some real simple, let me knock out, let me sign some paperwork real quick and let me get up out of here. No, it don't work like that. It's some shit that's gonna take probably 8 hours to do. And then you as a leader, you like, man, I'm not gonna keep my guys here, man. Let me go ahead and knock this out myself so I can get these guys out of here at a decent time today. So you end up getting off 16, 1700 while your guys get out of there, man. That's kind of how it end up happening for me, man. How about you?
Mine is a short throw, but DESRON gonna be here next Monday. And he want to see some of the spaces. He want to look at some workspaces. He gonna do a little tour. He also want to check out a couple engine rooms. So it's a couple things we need to do.
That is, you are so, look, they kind of go with the same kind of way I'm talking about too when they come up with something we got to do next week or whatever too. But you are right, man. Like you telling me that it's the first time we knew DESRON was coming on Friday, man. Like it's time to get up out of here.
And do you know what happened with that? Like either DESRON don't come on Monday, or when DESRON come, he don't walk through those spaces that they said he was going to walk
man. Dude, right? You just said a mouthful right there, man. It's everything though. Like, you know what, man? I know a lot of leaders out there listening to us too, man. Let's be for real right now, man, on this subject, man, real quick. The Admiral coming, right? The Admiral coming. Yeah. MacPun coming. Some kind of big wig is coming to the ship. We make a path, right? On where they're gonna walk. We're gonna make sure that path squared away, whatever the case may be. Man, them people don't care about all that stuff, man. They come in there to talk to you for a few minutes. They may want to talk to the mess for a few minutes. They may want to talk to the crew for a few minutes. Man, they know what type of schedule we got. They know what it is to be a sailor. You know what I mean? They know how hard it is on sea duty. They know all these things, man. Like, I'm not in no way, shape, or form saying, let's not have the ship clean. Yeah. Let's not have spaces squared away and all that type of stuff. But to put everything into the fact that the Admiral or DESRON coming on board, man, is like sometimes a little bit, overkill to me.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is this: I'm gonna play good cop because I'm gonna be a little diplomatic in this approach or democratic and whatever. But I'm gonna say this: like, we never know what they would think if it wasn't, because I know damn sure if your ship looked horrendous, y'all gonna hear about it. You know what I'm saying? Because we've had visitors. Because it's like when they come, it's normally like, yeah, the crew been doing good, y'all been stressed out, a lot of tasks, and y'all pulled through the kind of like speech that's normally true with a naval ship. But it's like you never know what they would say if the ship dirty, because nobody ever dared to like present like a dirty ship to like one of these guys. Now every now and then you might get somebody from DESRON come and it is dirtier than normal, and then you might hear about it like, hey, they said such and such came and he said this, he said that. So people don't even normally try it with the DESRON for us to know how they would act. Like imagine if he's like, nah, like we got DESRON coming, let's not clean them spaces, let's show DESRON what the ship looked like on a day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? You might not hear the end of that.
Yeah. See, now look, now, yeah, I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying don't clean the ship. What I'm saying is the fact of like we sometimes go all out, man. Like we might hit that ship like 2-3 times that day because the DESRON coming. We might have clamped down like twice that day. Do it in the morning, the afternoon.
2 hours. 2 hours. No, you're not saying don't clean the ship at all, but it's just. It's sometimes it is, overkill. The ship be clean and it's just super crazy. But the craziest thing is, DESRONs and stuff, they know that like people doing that before they come because they were in some position before where they was a part of the crew doing that too. You know what I mean? So it's it's
most
just this whole
definitely,
thing.
Man. Most definitely. I tell you though, man. Like I guess I mean we always showing off, man. We love to show off. You know what I mean? Show off like this our ship. You know what I mean? It's always a thing that we call, this is my home. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it clean. I'm gonna keep it squared away. When somebody step on board this ship, it kind of shows, you know, what kind of ship we got. The first thing people see is how clean the ship is when they from the outside coming in. That's the first thing they see, right? When they step on board the ship. So I kind of see that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not like saying it's a bad thing, because believe it or not, man, I didn't heard several inspectors step on board your ship and they'll be like, they know what type of ship you got because of how it look when they step on board. So I get that.
What do you do?
You know what I mean? I get that.
What you do? What you do when you get on a ship? Do you observe? Because you're an inspector, right? So like I said, I told the audience we're going to do something. If you don't know who we are, we're going to introduce ourselves a little bit, right? So Damon is an inspector, right? You doing? So when you walk on a ship, do you notice, like, do you judge it at all based on like how clean it looks?
Not really on how clean it is. Now, this is me. I'm not talking for nobody else. I'm gonna tell you what I judge. I judge the ship on DC equipment because I'm a damage controlman, right? Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, man, DC equipment is all over the ship. It's everywhere. You can't miss it. Time you step on board the ship. So the first thing I normally see when I step on board the ship is fire hoses, man.
Yeah. And how they,
you know what I mean? That kind of like one of my things is like, you know, it's a PMS card, tell you exactly how to store this hose, right? Yeah. Exactly how. So I kind of look at that, man, and then I can tell a lot of ways on if PMS done correctly by looking at that hose. I can tell a lot by just looking at a fire station, man. And I kind of look for them, like, because everywhere I go, like every ship I step on, where they take us to, they normally take us to the same spots on every different platform. We kind of know what direction we going and where they're going to take us to and where we going to, you know, do our debriefs and briefs at. So I kind of know where I'm going. So I look at this thing and people be like watching me, man, because I stop in P-ways and I look and I do all this as I'm going to where I'm going. But that's kind of like my first impression as I walk on board the ship is normally fire station. But I look at more than that, though. I can look at your battle errors. I can look at your CO2, PKP bars, all that stuff. But fire station is one of those things that I always look at.
Hey, I have I had a crazy week, right? And I want to get into it because I also want you to DRB me. Like, I need you to DRB me. I need you to keep me honest with something here. I did something wrong, and I did something that messed me up.
I got you, man.
I need to be DRB. We were supposed to have another chief talking to us, and I wanted to have this conversation with two of y'all, but it'd just be you. But before that, the selection board results came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For it's good, man. A lot of sailors on you know, on social media, you know, got their ticket to the dance.
Yeah.
You know, which is a big deal, man, for everybody, man. I tell you, man, that's one of the 4 sailors, man. Is one of the proudest moments, man, because you know that you got a shot, you know, you got the ticket, man, because it's cool when you see, because to me, I used to say this thing, I don't know if I said this before on different podcasts, but I was up for chief 3 or 4 times, right? And I never really studied, right? And the reason why I didn't study, let me tell you, man, it was a reason why I didn't study in the beginning. Is because I went to Captain Mass. So I never thought that I was going to make it. You know what I mean? In the beginning, like the first couple of times I said, yeah, I might have a shot, blah, blah, but I didn't make it. Like the first time I didn't make it. Then I went to Captain Mass. So it's like, oh, you know, it's going to be 5 years. You know, everybody gave you that 5 years scenario. So I never really studied after that, but I always made board. And I always like blew it out the water. You know what I mean? I always like, you know, scored pretty good on the test every time. So I used to say this little thing all the time, man. Like, if you don't make board, you don't know your rate. I just say that, man, out loud. Then I found out, man, of course, as I'm thinking about it for a while, man, as being seasoned a little bit more, I'm like, you know what, that's not the right way to approach it, or the way to say it, because everybody's not test takers. Everybody's not, you know, it's a lot that goes on with that. So, so I most definitely, you know, changed my tune on that a lot, man, because I know some good damage control that did make board. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's most definitely not the case. But I used to say that crap all the time, man.
Yeah, I just like to say,
but yeah, congratulations! But congratulations to everybody, man. It's a big deal. It's a milestone, and good luck, man. Making chief is huge, man. In your Navy career, no one wants to come in the Navy and do 20 years as enlisted and don't and don't put on khakis. Everybody don't do it. Everybody don't put on khakis. They do 20 years and they retire and don't put on khakis. So it's a good opportunity for everybody who put on board, man. Good luck to you guys, and I hope to see some future Chiefs.
Yeah. Hey, congrats to everybody that made board. I want to shout out the people. It's the first look for them. It's their first ticket to the dance, and I want to give a special shout out to the people. It's their last look, right? Some of y'all gonna make it, and some of y'all not gonna be selected, right? That's just the way that nature kind of works when we talk about this. But I want to shout y'all out, and I want to let y'all know that y'all have made an impact, right? And I'm trying to. I don't want this to sound like the corny like speech, or whatever, because life is just like this really big thing, right? So you contribute, you take your time out, you contribute to your junior sailors, you contribute to the betterment of the Navy, and you contribute to people's lives when you interact with them. And if you committed for 20 years to this place, you contributed far more than you'll probably ever know or ever even be acknowledged or from anybody else, right? So either from yourself or anybody else, right? You've contributed. And you might not have made chief yourself, but you've probably made numerous chiefs, numerous officers, numerous captains or whatever like that, right? And your contributions, even though you might think like, man, that's bullshit, I want to make chief, like your contributions are like not measured by anything that like an organization could put value to. You know, it's measured in the grand scheme of what life is, and you don't really know what that like means. You know, and it might sound super crazy what I'm saying, super jumbled and super complicated, and it's because my deeper conversation would be off a podcast mic and like in person or whatever like that. But what I do want you to know is you have like contributed to the grand scheme of what life is. And if you decide to retire without making chief, you're about to continue and go into the world and offer them what you've offered the Navy for 20 years. And that's greatness and that's excellence. And that's an unmatched ability to like lead and guide people and inspire people. So like take that with you. You know what I mean? Take that with you. However, I do want to say good luck this year. You know, hopefully you make it so you can bring all of those gifts that you have into the Chiefs mess. But like I was having a conversation with Damon and I was saying like the Navy is a very small kind of percentage of people. It's a small percentage of people in the Navy, right? And a lot of us have these gifts, man, and like leadership gifts and like ways like gifts to inspire and stuff like that. And a lot of us, you know, we drag it out, we get caught up in thinking that like this is the only place that we can offer those gifts to, in which this place will definitely appreciate those gifts. You know that, right? Sometimes the Navy, sometimes you might even feel like you giving more than you know getting out of it sometime. But what I would like you to know is that it's a whole big world out there that like would definitely appreciate your gifts too. A lot of young people that definitely would appreciate your leadership too. So, you know, some of those people that's kind of holding on, not knowing what to do. I just want to say that, you know, just leave that message and I'll expound on that in other times.
Yeah, I want to add to that a little bit, man. Of course, like you said, man, you had that conversation before, and it kind of opened my eyes up a little bit, also. But I wanna, you know, for whoever in a situation like that, I want to just say, man, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? You got those gifts, and you'll go out and you'll get great things. You'll do great things. But I'm saying this for I had this sailor. I just came off a ship. That I actually, you know, I told I was going on Sunday. So I just left on Sunday, you know, flew out on a freaking helicopter to this ship to do his inspection. I'm going to throw all that out there, right?
Was it an emergency?
It wasn't really no emergency, but it was emergency for me. It was emergency for me. Shit. But this sailor asked me, he said, "Senior, you know, how long you been in the Navy?" And I said, I told him 23 years. And he was like, said, "How in the heck did you was able to do 23 years, and how would you encourage me to like stay in and blah blah blah, and like that type of talk. And I was like, in my mind, I'm saying, man, shit, dude, you just don't know this right up my alley. You know what I mean? Like how he was talking to me, like it's right up my alley. On it was a young damage controlman, and I said something that I normally don't say, man. And normally I'm encouraging. I'm damage control through and through. Stay in, blah, blah, blah.
You said damage control through and through.
Huh?
You said damage control.
Yeah, through and through.
Hey, see, like, so they like, hey, seeing like, what made you stay in? And you like, man, these fire hoses, man. Like, I just gotta fix every fire hose.
No, man. I'm normally encouraging people to stay in and stuff, right? But I told this guy, this guy, this young sailor, something different, man.
Yeah.
I said, he asked me why I stayed in. I said, times was different when I came in than when you came in.
Right.
I said, if I had the opportunities that you had, that you got right now, I may have just did 4 and got out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about the schools that you can go to school and get paid as an E5, and skill bridge and all these different things now that's available for sailing. It's way more than that. Just a couple I'm naming. It's so many things out there now that you can do to excel outside the military. It's crazy right now. Take advantage of it. I told myself, I'm not telling you to get out, but I'm telling you got more opportunities,
mm-hmm.
To get out. So we had this long conversation, man, and I'm the reason why I'm bringing it up, man, because I remember how young sailors used to come to me all the time, and I'll be like, first thing come out of my mouth, what you gonna do when you get out?
Yeah,
I got like defensive, like why are you getting out when you ain't got no plan? You know what I mean? Blah blah. Man, now look, I know a sailor right now went to mental health, got out, getting paid 90% disability, and going to freaking school right now. You know what I mean? So they're getting a check from the Navy, 2 checks from the Navy still, and still, doing great things out there, man. Going to school to be great. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's opportunities out there, man. Like regardless of your situation and what's going on, you have opportunity. You know what I mean? You have opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, I got a quick question for you. Did you see the previews to Top Gun 2?
I have not seen the previews to Top Gun 2, but let me tell you, man, I have not, but one of my old divos is a big Top Gun fan, and man, I remember I saw like he can't wait. Like that's all I saw from him. Like he said something on there, like he just cannot wait. Like this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, man.
You should watch the trailer.
What's your take? You saw it?
Yeah. It's a couple it's a couple Navy like sites and pages that like talking about it. Like, so if you like, these dudes' ribbon racks messed up. They got like the ribbons all messed up on the racks. And then they made Iceman, like I think the commander of like Pac Fleet or whatever. Like, and I
heard he was an admiral.
Yeah, I saw some sellers. Yeah, I saw some sellers, on like some page talk about like this is like typical, like typically the way the Navy works, where the asshole, because remember he was like an asshole in the movie. So there's like typically like they was like, go figure, that asshole dude becomes the commander of like Pac Fleet or whatever like that. So I just found it funny.
Yeah.
It looked like it's gonna be a good movie. It looked like it's gonna be a good movie. I mean, I know Val Kilmer got like a lot of issues and stuff like that, so he had to use like artificial intelligence to speak and stuff like that. He got some issues. Shout out to Bruce Willis and his family, because we won't be seeing any more Bruce Willis movies after whatever the last film that he filmed, because he has issues as well, and he won't be able to act. I don't want to just say issues though. Let me look this up real quick. But did you see it? Did you see the news about Bruce?
I did. I just heard he wasn't going to be. He retiring from acting. I didn't know like why.
Yeah, it's called like
I did see that
aphasia or whatever. It got to deal with like his cognitive skills and stuff like that. So he won't be acting again. His daughter, Rumor Willis, she made the announcement. Only reason I shout Bruce, man, Bruce did a lot for us, man. I know a lot of Bruce Willis movies, man, played on a lot of those mess decks and a lot of those deployments, man.
No doubt.
Real love for old Bruce,
no
man.
doubt.
All right, let's get into this real quick, man. Your week, man. What you been up to, man? Well, shit. What you been up to since?
Yeah, hey, like I said, I got into it a little bit earlier, man. My week was like crazy a little bit, man. I started out by flying out on a ship.
Yeah.
And I found out like late in the week that I was doing it, man. So I wasn't that happy about it, of course. But of course, we always do what we have to do. So I fly out to the ship, and it's the ship. The aircraft I flew out on was a SH-60, right? So as soon as I get on this thing and it's loaded, like all of us on there, like it's like 7 of us, on there. And as soon as we get up in the air, man, all this freaking hydraulic fluid leaking all over me, man.
Crazy.
Just leaking all in my lap, like coming from the top, man.
Crazy.
So I'm like extra freaking mad about this shit, man. Like it's no shit leaking down on me from the top of the damn thing. And it's like spraying because it's like all the wind and air and all that shit up there. So it's just like spraying down, man. Like that, not on nobody else.
Yeah, just you.
Me.
Solely you, like a black
just
cloud.
Me.
It's over
just
you.
me. Yeah. Just me.
Did you
so I
to
guess
move?
on I guess on board.
Somewhere else? It's like switch seats.
You can't move. You locked in, man.
Yeah, you on it.
You can't move. Hilo, you ain't moving nowhere. I'm about to just taking it.
That's crazy.
Just taking it. Man. Head, like, then I get on. I can't do nothing, man. Then I get on board the ship, man. They put me in a stateroom, so that was pretty cool. But the only thing about the stateroom, man, is that it was a 5-man stateroom, right? So the stateroom is where the Marine officers normally sleep, but of course they didn't have Marines on board. So, but it's normally where they sleep at. But it was Marine officers, so it was it was good. It was nice. But the only issue I had, man, is like it was a 5-man stateroom, and you put 5 people in there, and you got every other stateroom on that motherfucker empty. Like, hey, the doors are open to them, all of them empty, but you're gonna pack all 5 of us in this stateroom, man.
You wanted your own joint?
I started just go into another, but you couldn't just like go into another stateroom because they got key entries.
Yeah,
just like the hotel room got. You know what I mean? So I couldn't just go into
an. You want your own joint?
I ain't want my own joint, but I feel like it was a little closer there to be 5 deep in there. You got all these other staterooms. I guess I would just, I guess I was being bougie or whatever. But
I mean, I remember.
But then, and then the last thing, man, for my week, man, I freaking saw one of our sailors off the Rafael Peralta, man, on there.
You did what?
She Warrant FSO, man. She was the FSO on there.
Oh, for real?
Warrant Officer Williams, man. You remember? Yeah, man. So she was on there, man. So me and her chopped it up a little bit on there, man. So that was pretty cool, man. I haven't seen her in a long time. So that was pretty cool.
I think she just had her birthday, right? I feel like she just had her birthday.
Yeah, she about to leave this. I think she leave this month too. She transferred this month.
Yeah, she's doing good things. Now, what I was gonna say was when I was on LCS, they put me on one of those like barracks, little barracks. It was like a box, like a little, what's the name box? You know what I'm talking
Barge. Like a little
Connex
I know
like
exactly what you're trying to say. Right? Connex box. Yeah.
But it was on a ship. And it like I was there by myself. It's like 4 racks in there, man. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna sleep in a different rack every night. Like, so I know how it feels to go to the room and just see all of these different racks. I wound up just finding one rack, like you real crazy. You sleep in a different rack every night. You know what I'm saying? But just the idea that I had that shit, it was great, man. The AC was perfect.
Just so you know, ain't that crazy though, man? Like everybody all the listeners, man, a Connex box is pretty much a damn near 12 by 12 box, right?
It wasn't 12.
They put 12. This box probably smaller than that, right?
Oh.
So they bigger?
Hell yeah. Yeah,
that Connex box ain't that damn big, is it?
It wasn't a Connex box. It wasn't a Connex box.
No, well, I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying this because Connex box on the LCS, they know shit. Bring a Connex box on board for people to sleep in.
Yeah,
with racks inside of it, and I had to do it before because when we go out there with them, they don't have like extra racks and stuff for us, so we had to sleep in a Connex box.
All I'm gonna say is, if you get that choice, young sailors, don't pick the burden. Pick that damn box. That box was the best shit that I ever had experienced in my life, man.
Clean too.
Yeah, I love living in that box. All right, so I don't know what I want to do first, man. I know I want you to DRB me, but I had a very eventful week or whatever. So let's start at let's start at Friday, right? Like the 25th or something like that. Like, so me and Angeline, we went to Philly, we went to a wedding, right? So shout out to my friends, Mark and Jackie Allen, who got married, right? After 11 years, man. They, finally tied the knot, got married, right? So shout out to them. Love both of them. Good people. Like, very beautiful event, stuff like that. I ran into my brother. My brother was there. He's like, yeah, I didn't know you was gonna be here. So my brother was there. We talked, had a good time, stuff like that, right? We stayed at a hotel. We left. So it's crazy because on the way home, I was supposed to go see my mom for like to go eat breakfast. What we talked about eating breakfast? I told her I'd call her. I ain't making any promises. But I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll call you. You know what I'm saying? And then it's funny because after the last episode, she was like, on the last episode, I was like, yo, she loved David and Hey B. She's like, I like you too. I was like, I know, but I was just messing with her. She's like, I like you too. I like both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? But so we my mom eventually she gonna tell me I can't keep messing with her on here. But so on the way home, like that, I was supposed to go, go eat breakfast with her, but I didn't. We kind of like got out a little later than I wanted to leave, so I wanted to hit straight. Now on my way home, though, my sister lived in Delaware, so I was gonna go, and all this matters to the listeners. Like all this matters. You're gonna find out why in a second, right? So my sister wanted to go to Delaware. I mean, my sister lives in Delaware, so I called her and like, yo, I want to come hang out with you and the kids. And she was like, nah, we in Philly. Like she's like, I'm on my way to Philly and they're in Philly already because I wanted to do brunch with them. So we just went home. We went straight home. And then we even thought to like we wanted to go to a restaurant and eat, right? We wanted to go to a restaurant and eat. But we wound up, it's a spot called Gino's and um it's a spot called Gino's. Damn, where I used to live. I used to live in some real gritty part of the little Maryland area close to Baltimore, but it's a place called Gino's. They sell burgers and milkshakes and stuff like that. That I forgot where it's at. But we were going to eat in, and we decided not to. So we did the drive-through, right? So we went through. Well, the dining area was closed, so we went through the drive-through, and then we went to like a park, and we ate our food at the park, right? And again, all of this matters, right? All this kind of matters, right? Oh, Glen Burnie, for anybody listening, Glen Burnie, Geno's and Glen Burnie, go there. The best onion rings ever. It's no onion rings better. If somebody knows a place with better onion rings, holla at me for real. It's no onion rings better than Geno's. I promise you this. So we leave, we head back. So we left Philly at like 11:30 and we didn't get home till like 6 something, right? We go pick up Saint, and it's only like a 2.5 hour ride. I don't know why it took us that long, but again, we stopped in Glen Burnie. It was a bunch of stuff, right? And then I wanted to go to the bathroom. I wanted to go to a mall. I didn't. I just went to like a little porta potty. All right. So reason all of this matters is because that morning I had like a scratchy throat, right? But not like not nothing too crazy, just like a scratchy, like the normal scratchy throat where it's like, yo, if I chill for the day, cover up a little bit, this scratchy throat thing won't be anything tomorrow, type stuff, right? But like 10:42 at night, it was like a little bit more scratchy than I wanted it to be, but still nothing alarming, like nothing alarming. Now this is Sunday night. Or the next, but so by like 10:42 that next night, it's like Sunday night, the night before it's time for me to, go to work, and then the next day I get to work and I was like, yo, I feel a little sick, and that was, the night of the Oscars. Then the next day we came back, we did the episode and I was like, yo, I'm a little sick. The job let me, come home early, stuff like that. Right. So that's to put the context there.
Yeah.
So Angeline was feeling sick too, but I wasn't really feeling like that sick. Like it's just small, light cold, right? But Angeline was feeling a little sick too. Next day, I go to Camp David, right? And I do an inspection. Still like I got my mask on. And I'll get more into the story in a second. But I got my mask on. I go to Camp David. I visit Doc. Doc is there. We chat. Great time. I get home and Angeline's feeling like more sick, right? Face burning. And we both had like COVID before, right? And she feeling all the symptoms that she had back when she had COVID, all the symptoms. So she take the test and she's positive, right? So I'm like, well, shit, if she positive, let me take the test, right? I take the test and I'm positive too. So, and my shit was like instant. It's supposed to be like 15 minutes wait at home test, instant, right? So next day, so, I call work. I'm like, hey, I'm COVID positive. Next day, but I'm like, hey, I want to go do a test on base. I don't trust this at home test. But everybody like, hey, at home test is just as good as any other test, right? But I still do a test on base the next day, positive, right? Quarantining, all that, right? We finished quarantining, man, right? And this is where things get kind of crazy. So some of this story I'm gonna go back to because it's a lot of opening spots here because I need to get DRB'd on something. So I'm talking about it. So we quarantining, finished quarantining, and is this the night before? Yeah, Sunday, the night before I go back to work, bro. I ate something, right? So mind you, I guess when I got COVID, I'm taking medicine and drinking tea with probiotics and doing all the COVID stuff, right? And I hope this story is not boring anybody, right? So we get the day before I gotta go back to work, bro. My stomach is crazy, neck crazy. I don't know what made me think that I could order these like Korean wings or whatever. They were like these spicy garlic wings from a place I never ate from before. I had some plum wine and like I threw up, bro. Crazy, bro. I never. It's been like, man. It's been like, no, mind you, I don't got COVID no more. My quarantine period is over. Everything, and I'm like supposed to go, go back to work, bro. I'm feeling crazy. And me and Angeline watching like ratchet reality TV, right? Jocelyn's Cabaret, right? Just the most ratchet you could get with this shit, right? For like 2 days straight. Like that's all we did was watch like the whole show, right? It's 3 seasons. So we go, so I get up, right? And like like one of the reunion episodes on, she's like, hey babe, like boom. I just get up. I'm like, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom, right? So I'm thinking like I could just shit this out. Whatever it is I'm feeling, I'm like, yeah, I could shit this out, right? Sorry for the listeners if this is too gross, right? I get in the bathroom about to go to, and the vomit, bro, it just comes out like just projectile, like crazy, like throughout the bathroom, bro. So I go to the sink and I start early, and I'm like, and I got this whole weird thing about throwing up because it's probably the worst. You got no control over it. It's like the worst thing. It felt way better than when that shit was in my system. It felt way better, right? But the first Earl. But I mean, while I was early, because I always like, yo, when you throwing up, like, can you breathe? It's just this weird vibe. So the first throw up, nasty, bad, over this everywhere, bang. Second throw up, joint over the sink. So then the next, I'm like, yo, let me get to the toilet, like, you know what I'm saying? So I finally get to the toilet and I throw whatever the rest a little bit is up, and then you always feel like it's one more tap, you know what I'm saying? That quadruple tap might be left. So I go back out now and I'm like in my head, right? So this all the stuff I'm thinking about in my head because that's me and being analytical about to come up in my second part of this story, right? So all I'm thinking about in my head now is that I got all this damn throw up in my bathroom, and it's a lot. It's like over the sink. It's like on a little plant that I got. It's all over, like everything, right? So, and I'm like, yo, I don't want my wife to see this. Like, she's my wife, but I don't want to see all this throw up. Like, let me clean a little bit of it up, first. So, but then I'm like, I do still kind of want to tell her I just threw up because like it's not normal no more. Like I'm living with this. Like I'm not trying to be like the senior person with the secret right now. Like I threw up. Like I need to let you know. You know what I'm saying? So I come out. I come out and I'm like, hey babe, you might as well, because she still got Jocelyn playing. So I'm like, yo babe, you might as well just pause that for a little bit because I gotta go clean up this throw up. And, she a wife, so she's like anxious to see this throw up. Like, hey, well, where is it? So I'm like, yo babe, I got it. I just want to throw up first, boom, right? So, she's like, well, can I help? And I'm thinking like, yo, you want to help me clean up throw up? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like, that's some good wife. Like, that's some good type shit. Yo, glad I married you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah, let me get the throw up and then I'm going to, ask you for help. She comes in the bathroom, bro, cleans up the throw up, like the all of the throw up, man. And it's like, I don't want to get descriptive, but it looked like pasta.
The bathroom exploded.
Yeah, it looked like like Rasta pasta or something, like all throughout the bathroom, right? So, but she cleaning it up, man. And now she cleaning it up to a point that I'm just standing there and I'm like, yo, like, and I'm like, yo, this is my throw up. Like, let me, like, come on, like, let me in the game. Like, so at some point I look at her, I'm like, yo, babe, like, no. I tried to wipe something off. So the first thing is I go grab a napkin, right? And she Angeline hate when I use napkins, right? Like it's like I'm wasting napkins, right? So she's like, it's probably a better idea to use something besides a napkin. And then she's like, no, you just use whatever you want. You know how like sometimes people get but so she grab a rag. So I start wiping something off with the rag, and she like, well, I wouldn't do that just yet because boom, boom, boom. So then I'm like, yo, babe, like I just want to clean up my own throw up. Like, can I please? Like, and I'm like, I never knew that I would have to campaign to clean my own damn throw up. You know what I mean? She's like, well, I just wanted to help with this and boom, boom, boom. So, after that, I did thank her for like helping me. That was like surprisingly like unbelievable, right? So boom, from the wedding to COVID to like this horrible projectile vomit, and I ain't throw up in a long time, right? So that like made me think like about life. Like I don't know why I took like this throw up, like it's like this defining moment in my life, right? But if I like wrote like a biography, like it would probably start at the chapter of me like throwing up that night. But it was just super crazy, right? All right, so that's that part. All right, so here go the DRB part. I think you probably already know. Can you guess the DRB part?
Probably had something to do with the COVID and work.
COVID and work? You said COVID and all right. So let me break it down, and I'm gonna break it down in layman's terms, and then I'm gonna get descriptive and play into my mind and all of that shit, right? So I hope the listeners are enjoying this shit, hopefully. So here's the easy part, right? I'm a DLCPO, SEL, DLCPO, however we want to say it, right? On Mondays, we do departmental quarters, right? We hadn't done one in a while for a few reasons. The holidays, me being out because of Angeline, and a lot of different changes in the way things were, like, and not having to come to work on Monday. So it's been a while. So we just been kind of getting back to doing departmental quarters. So this was probably like the third one back or whatever. So like I had the whole department. So and this was the first time we did a khaki meeting, right? That's something new we just kind of introduced, right? It's like an all khaki meeting because we finally got more chiefs. So we do this khaki meeting and we do this departmental quarters. So I pretty much was talking to like everybody in my whole department for like at least 45 minutes without a mask on, just exposing them to COVID breath. Like everybody.
So, but you didn't have to have a mask on, right? Because you didn't know you had COVID yet, right?
I didn't know I had COVID, but I felt a little bit sick the night before. And I could have texted my supervisor and told him that
and said,
I feel a little sick.
Yeah.
I don't need to come to work.
Yeah.
So, and it was actually him that was the voice of reason when I saw him, but I saw him after I found out. I saw him after we had the departmental quarters. And when I saw him, I'm like, yeah, I feel a little sick, like neck scratchy. He's like, hey man, like, and I was like, so I might leave early. And he was like, wear a mask if you feel a little sick. And like, I do like that he thinks about shit like that because I don't sometimes, He's like, you feel a little sick, wear a mask. And that's when I did put the mask on, right? But normally he's the first person I see in the morning, right? So when I text him later that day, and I'm like, I feel so bad. Like, I'm like, hey, I got COVID, right? And he's like, okay, cool. Do what you need to do, follow CDC guidelines. And then he was like, next question I do want to ask you is, how many people did you talk to today for over 15 minutes without a mask or, whatever the guidelines are? And I'm like, everybody. I'm like, I talk to everybody, right? And I feel like he got like much higher like expectations for me as a leader because he was like, yeah, but without a mask. And I'm like, yeah.
Everybody.
I had departmental quarters, because I didn't see him until after. I didn't really think about the mask until after he told me, and I saw him after we did departmental quarters. I wound up calling everybody and telling everybody about it, and Come to find out, like one person did catch it, a little bit later. So we don't know if it came from me, but it could have. But it was also bad because that day that it happened, like I kind of gave the department like a little bit. I stood on my soapbox a little bit about them being late. Like some of the sellers was like a little bit late. So it's like that is motherfucker took the time out to like chew us out. And his ass had COVID this whole time. Like, so next time I get them together, I'm gonna talk about the now I want to get into my thoughts about all of this shit, right? Because the next time I talk to them, I want to talk to them about the importance of when you identify and you feel sick, don't think about nothing else. You feel sick, don't come to work. Right. So now my first question to you is, was I wrong?
Yes.
Thank you. Right. I know
well,
I was wrong.
I mean, you were wrong because of the fact that you knew it was a possibility your throat was scratchy. You had some type of symptoms, right? And I tell you, like at my command, we put out all the time. We say, hey, if you feeling sick, stay at home. Ain't nothing is more important than yourself and making sure everybody is, healthy and blah 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 blah. So yes, with that being said, though, you probably could have wore a mask and prevented a lot of it. So it's two things. That one, you probably shouldn't have showed up at all. And if you did show up, you probably should have had the mask on.
Right.
Because you didn't know at the time, right? It ain't like you knowingly went to the meeting knowing you had COVID. You didn't know, right? But you felt a little bit, you had some symptoms, so you probably should have at least wore the mask.
Yeah. And the only reason why I took the test was because, Angeline took it, right? So that's the only reason I even thought to take it. I just thought I would have had, because I recently, before this, had like a little scratchy throat and it wasn't COVID. Now, another thing is, so I had to tell Doc and them command that I had COVID, right?
Oh,
so Doc, me sitting with Doc for an hour, 2 hours or whatever, talking, having a great time. You know Doc, right? You know Doc. You know I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Doc texts me like, "Yo, I got the news. I heard. And Doc don't know this, like, but you know how like intimidating it was to have to like explain to Doc. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, well, did you know? And even her, she thought I was like smarter than I am too. She's like, well, she was like, well, were you a close contact or did you like test positive? I'm like, nah, I tested positive. She's like, oh, so I'm like, fuck, man. Doc don't know, man. I was scared. I'm like, yo, Doc about to rip my damn head off about this shit. But she was cool. She was cool about it. But I'm like, man, Doc probably like, I got you all in my medical facilities and shit you carrying around COVID. But Doc had like a lot of grace and she helped me out. But we had a good time. We had a good conversation, right? But
good.
All right. So here's the weird place that my mind goes when it comes to all of this shit. So remember that Angeline had surgery and I was like pretty much, I thought I was going to be like, I had to help her with her daily needs, right? So the period of time that I thought I was going to be like out of work helping her wound up multiplying by like 4 times the period of time I thought I was going to be out of work helping her, right? And my command was really good with that, right? I was still working and getting things done, but I wasn't physically at work as much as, I would want to be, right? So that's the first hit, right? Then after that, not much, just in and out holidays and stuff like that. But the week that I went on leave on Friday, and then I did a bunch of site visits, right? I got a couple schools coming up, so I'm gonna be out for the next like 2 months and all of this, right? So there's a lot of out of work kind of stuff for me, like out of the office kind of stuff for me, right? Before and after, right? So, but let's talk about that week, right? So that Monday I had to work, right? But that Tuesday I had a site visit, which is work, but it's an inspection, right? So I did a site visit on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I did another site visit, right? That Wednesday, it was like a makeup, site visit. On Thursday, and this came like last minute, we did an event. I think I told you like we had like this event. We went through DC, we went to different museums and stuff like that. So we did an event on Thursday. And then on Friday, I went on leave, right? So I was out of work, out of the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? So on Sunday at 10:42, when I'm like, yo, I feel scratchy. And then I'm like, no, it's too late. I don't want my job to think that I'm just find a reason to get out of work guy. So I'm going to go to work, tell them that I feel scratchy, and then I'm going to leave. But I'm not going coming off a leave, coming off of 3 days, not being in the office. I'm not going to call at 10:42 and be like, yo, I'm not coming to work on Monday because I feel a little bit sick. And that's where my fucked up brain went. You know what I'm saying? Because
mine would have went probably the same way, dude. I ain't gonna lie. I probably would have fucking did the same thing. When you think about how you put that, how you said that, I probably would have did the same thing, no doubt, man.
Right. And I talked to another senior chief, and he's like, "Hey, man, like that's just the way we think. Like I'm gonna come in. That's just the way we think. Like we not." But that's what I want to talk to my guys about. Because even given that circumstance, it's like, yo, you still need to, make that decision for the betterment of everybody else. Because I really did have COVID. I really wasn't bullshitting and trying to get out of work and all of that. And then on top of all of that, the people that I work for, they totally, like, it's not like they wouldn't have understood, or they would have been judging me, because I don't think that somebody that has, worked up that kind of like reputation to be bullshitting anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, again, me overthinking my own shit and getting ahead of myself. So like I said, I'm happy that I was able to paint the full picture for you, and you could see why I made the dumb decision that I made. But I still do want to acknowledge the fact that it was dumb. And I still do want to tell everybody out there, don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? Put all your people before you put what you think people are going to perceive of you. Put all your people before that, or whatever like that. So I just wanted to get into that.
Most definitely, man. And let me add just a little bit to that too, man. And I already acknowledge that I would have probably did the same thing. I'm gonna acknowledge that first before I say this. But I also want to just say, remember, to all the leadership out there that would have made the same decision that Damo made, is the fact that it only take one time. Anything you do, it's a lot of things we can do in life that we can't come back from, that we only did one time. You know what I mean? Like something would have happened to somebody that what you have been thinking about the rest of your life. If somebody would have got sick, somebody would have happened bad. It only takes one time. So keep that in mind too. But like I said before, I probably wouldn't have done no differently. But conversations like this will probably help me and other people in the future.
Yeah, and then to your commands, man, and to the commands. Like I said, this was self-imposed for me, but I don't want nobody to have to feel that kind of pressure. I put that type of pressure on myself. I put that kind of pressure on myself, but I don't want nobody to have to feel that, type of shit where they worried about, you. I always just got this self-conscious thing in my own head. Like, man, I never want nobody to think I'm trying to just get out of some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, that part is something I want to talk about when it comes to like social media. Oh, so because I didn't post about having COVID, like I ain't talk about it.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't see a reason to make a COVID announcement. You know what I mean? It's just that personal privacy. It's not much that if we didn't do a pod, I probably wouldn't even like be on social media. You know what I mean? So me and Angeline both did have COVID, if anybody is concerned, and we are both doing a whole lot better from since we had it, and that's that.
That's good.
It. I mean, and we about 50 minutes in, man. We hero of the week time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I had some questions, man. Like, and it comes from me again being inspections and going on different ships and doing a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of angry sailors out there, man.
Yeah.
Like angry.
Oh, you don't even want to get to the hero of the week yet. You don't want to get to the hero of the week yet. You talk about
not yet. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But it's some angry sailors out there, man. I know why. You know what I mean? Especially being at the sea, man. Being at the sea, it's a big deal, man. The schedule is all over the place. And we know how it is, man. You know what I mean? We both been out to sea. We both know how hard the schedule can be, and on sailors, especially you're a young sailor, just came in the Navy, and you introduced to a whole nother world. So I understand all that. I understand you don't have all the time off that you want, and all the quals you got to get and all that stuff, man. But this is what I say, man. Whatever you do in life, man, you got to make the best of it, man. Walking around angry, walking around, in a different world is not the key to success, man. Like, I'm saying this because, dude, I'm literally like watching this on the ship, and in my mind, I want to like stop people and like, hey, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can I help you? Let me talk to you, and this is what I want to do, because that's how they're walking through the P-ways, like, get out my way. That's how they talking to each other on the ship.
Yeah.
Like, move. Like, that type of language, like, move. If you say some stuff like that to the wrong person, who knows where that can go?
Yeah.
Like when you're talking to people, like, you got to be respectful to each other. And the second thing, man, like especially when I see first classes and second classes and things like that, and it's not me trying to be like mean or me trying to be out of my element, but you do re-enlist. You know what I mean? This is voluntary too. So don't get that twisted when I'm saying this, man. I just want to make it sure that sometimes, man, like, if you're making the decision to stay in, make the best of that decision.
Yeah.
Like, everything is never going to go as planned, man, all the time. Especially you be at the sea duty, man. My mindset changes from short duty to sea duty, man. Like, it's a mindset that you have to have, and my mindset is like, hey, I know I'm going to be here, for a long time. I know I'm going to be going out to sea. I know the schedule is going to be crazy, but I set myself up for that before I get there. You know what I mean? I set my family down, and we talk about it. Cause I'm telling you, cause I got one of these things that I know I'm gonna have to get shit done. I know I don't like to look bad. I know I want to, stuff like this. So I know I'm gonna stay there to try my best to do my best. You know what I mean? So my division don't look bad. So I don't look bad, for my chain of command don't look bad. So whatever hours I need to put in, I'm gonna put them in, because I don't want to, look bad in nobody's eyes. Period. And people always say, well, I don't care what nobody think. You're right. I don't really care what nobody thinks, but it's my division. I got to make sure we square it away as best of my ability anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, I really want to like bring it up, and anybody out there, man, that's I know, people going through stuff, get help. It's so many avenues out there that can get you help on whatever you need. If it's mental, if it's physical, is it whatever, it's help out there for you. I'm just saying this, man, because I saw some stuff on the ship when I walked on board the ship, man. It's like was damn near like so many fights could have happened, man.
Yeah.
Like, on how people talk to each other, man. Like, it's like alarming a little bit, man. But I just want to put that out there, man. Like, sailors are out there angry, man. And I know most of it coming from the schedule. And I left a ship with a schedule that just came back the 4th. And they still going through a whole lot of stuff, man. Like, ain't nothing stopped. They just came off the plug and ain't nothing stopped. So I know, it's hard out there, man. But, we got to overcome and do the best we can do.
So we was out there angry, right? We was out there every now and then a little upset at the schedule, right? With different circumstances and things being extended, stuff like that. Affected our mood, right? Now, this is the one thing that I know it didn't affect, right? Because we are a family, right? And I'm gonna get into that a little bit. I don't know why you brought this up, because it's just a topic that I kind of like. You didn't brought up a good topic, right? But because it's layered, because you got a lot of outliers. It's a lot of outlier sellers. It's a lot of sellers that went through like a traumatic stress event that just can't like accept circumstance or can't socialize normally or whatever, because they actually went through something, and it might have something to do with a seller. But for right now, I'm talking about just disgruntled sellers because of the schedule and stuff like that, right? So with us, no matter how upset we were at the schedule, man, we bonded. You know what I mean? Them watch teams, them watch teams in the spaces and stuff like that, we bonded with each other. Like, we wasn't upset with each other, Every now and then it might be a blow up, it might be a little back and forth, a little fight or something like that. But for the most part, and even then, a lot of times, when you're an engineer or something, y'all like laughing and joking about that by the next watch. You know what I'm saying? So the guy's gonna get shit about it, both of them. Like, hey, such and such was about, you break it up, you fix it, Chiefs, whatever like that. But such and such was about to whoop your ass. Those things happen.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't want people thinking that,
Yeah.
it's not like stirring the pot. Y'all mess around. We have a lot of fun, stuff like that. Like people get into it when we run in drills or whatever, and you kind of laugh and joke about it. Y'all do what y'all had to do administratively, and then y'all have fun. It's camaraderie. You on a long deployment. Whether that be an argument or people come close to going to blows. It's like a family, right? But the one thing I can always say is we care about each other, and we don't have the disdain toward each other, right? We might have the disdain toward the circumstance, but we don't have the disdain toward each other. So when you start getting to where you starting to feel like you got issues with the people, and you didn't go through a traumatic stress event, you didn't get assaulted, you're not in a toxic work environment or nothing like that. It's just that the schedule and all of that shit is beating your ass. Then it is time to start looking at those programs like EOSC and if it's developed and stuff like that, and talking to different people, your peers, and seeing somebody that might not, like somebody that you do admire that might not be going through what you're going through, and they in that same predicament, and figuring out like what do they do, like what, like damn, like whenever I see you good, man. Like, what's your secret? I've asked people that before, in every facet of my, cause I probably asked you that, on deployment, like always motivated, like, damn, do you still be motivated for doing drills after 20 some years? You still motivated to do these drills? Why? What's your secret? So sometimes you might have to do that. Now, it's outliers, right? Because I want to say that because I don't want to out like somebody that actually went through something to be like, yo, it's not that easy, Senior Chief. It's not that easy, Damo. It's not that easy, Damon. Like I actually went through an experience that I don't trust people anymore, right? Because then it's programs in place, because again, I'm not like Deepak Chopra or not. Like I can't give like the and I don't mean to say it in jest, but I'm not the person to provide all of the detail on that. But I am the person that help you get to who you need to get to help. And then even in those processes, it takes a long time to fully recover from these events, and most people don't ever recover. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even talking about those people. I'm just talking about the people that's kind of make it a norm for and I think that's what you talk about too, Damon. Like the people that kind of make it a norm to have like a negative interaction as they passing through like P-ways and stuff because they upset about like the schedule. And these are things that like a lot of times the captain can't do nothing about, like his boss can't do anything about, your chief, your peers, but the biggest one I'm thinking about is your peers, like the people you work with, man. Like I don't know. We should care deeply about our peers, and I've been a junior seller. I had issues with people and, but it's not nothing that ever extended like past the day of or something like that. You know what I mean? So I hope we don't sound too over the hill with that. And it sound like it's coming from a good place, a place of care. You know what I mean? Like a place of care. And I think that, people do care, because I think sometimes the sellers feel like disconnected. Because I see where the Navy might say something like, yo, we care about mental health. And the seller like, oh, for real? And I believe that, whatever entity in the Navy said that they care about mental health, they really do. They really do. But a seller might not feel that. Our seller might be going through something that like does not seem like it was addressed, And then on the other hand of all of this is it's a whole lot of resources that like people don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like it's way too many resources that don't get talked about. Cause a lot of times, like a lot of people normally provide like testimony. You know what I mean? Like, so if they never went through it, a lot of times people don't talk about it. You know what I mean? And that's that's even the way kind of like learning is and training. Like it's by example. I mean by experience. So it's like a lot of people they don't know what Fleet and Family could provide you if you're a single mom or boom, 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 if they never had to go through it. You know what I mean? I learned the process.
Dude, that's
what's up?
Nah, I'm just like agreeing with you because I was just talking to a sailor about this, man. Like about Fleet and Family, about just different things in the Navy that they just don't know about and they're not getting trained on it and all this type of stuff. So I just had this conversation with this sailor on the ship.
It's damn near everything.
Crazy.
It's like, so, I learned the knowing I'm a chief, knowing I'm, and I love talking about myself, about stripping down some of the bullshit and talk about myself, right? But knowing I'm a chief, knowing that I got sellers, knowing all of this, like it honestly, I didn't never feel like we had enough time to sit down and really work out some of these processes. But we were recording this podcast when one of my sellers was getting out the Navy, right? The first time ever that I had a seller getting out the Navy and I was their chief. And that's when I learned the process. That's when I really learned the process of a seller separating, like everything that gotta happen. You know, I mean, and it's a simple process, but it's some things that you gotta follow. And I learned it then.
Yeah.
In experience. And then the next time I have a seller separate, I'm gonna be learning the process again, or learning it a little bit more, because that seller might have a different circumstance, might have some medical stuff and stuff like that. So a lot of times we learn on the go, and that might be opening up a whole nother subject. But hey man, we might as well wait till the end to talk about our hero of the week, man.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
Yeah, because we ain't gonna talk about anybody that's like, waiting for Band of Brothers. We're not gonna talk about it today. Because we both were kind of lazy, I guess, and we didn't get a chance to watch. I've been too busy watching Jocelyn's Cabaret, man. You know what I mean? For all my decent, for all our decent audience, man, please don't even look that up. Don't even Google that, man. I don't want y'all to think different about me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even Google that. Hey, so look, I got a question, right? It's not Navy related, and I know we got some more Navy stuff, but this one is not Navy related. T.I., right? Did you see what T.I. did?
I did not see what T.I. did.
It was a comedian on stage, right? And she was joking about his case, right? I don't know if you're familiar with it, but him and his wife, they got caught up in some scandal, like a sex scandal. And I'm not sure if it ever went to court or whatever, but it was stories about it. And he was at a comedy show because he'd been trying to do comedy. And a woman comedian was on stage joking about his case, right? And he pretty much had a mic and he interrupted her bit, and he told her not to joke about that. You shouldn't joke about that, and all this. And he wound up even getting on stage with her. He like hugged her, but he was talking to her, I think, telling her not to joke about it. And she was still trying to joke. She's like, "This ain't no rap battle, T.I." Like, he wound up snatching a mic from her and saying like he's not gonna let her get that joke off or whatever like that, right? And so ever since the other incident happened that I don't want to talk about, people saying like, is it safe, for comedians when it come to that? And they saying like, yo, it's just jokes, take it easy or whatever like that. What's your thoughts on that? I want to hear your thoughts before I give you mine, because I think we're gonna have opposing thoughts.
Yeah, so my thoughts comes from me being I'm gonna just straight up say it. I think it comes from me being a little older and been seeing a lot of comedians, on stage, in movies or wherever, joke on whoever. However, I have seen it so many times that I feel like even on roast, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be, I just have seen it so many times. But now, man, I just don't know what's going on with it, man. My whole thought process is it's a joke. They're getting paid. You're coming to see these people tell jokes. And if you in the audience or whatever for so long, ain't nobody's off limits, right? It's been a unwritten rule that no one is off limits. You know what I mean? When it comes to jokes. Now, with all the shit that's going on, I guess it's going to become some rules. You can't talk about people in the audience. You can't do certain things now, right? When it comes to comedian, because now people going to come up on stage and snatch your mic. People going to come up on stage and slap the shit out you. People going to come on stage and do whatever. So now I think the whole layout is changing. So my thought process is like, grow the fuck up. A comedian doing this for years, man. That's what they've been doing, and a lot of times things get taken out of context too, though, because a lot of times comedian may not know exactly what's going on. They just know what they hear in the media also, and they may not have the full truth, but they making a joke about it. They taking reality sometimes and they making light of it. You know what I mean? Laughing about it. Hopefully they get you to laugh with it too. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we cannot go up and physically do anything to people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't understand, man.
So
like,
you don't think it's a limit to what people should joke about?
Not at. I tell you what, this is what I say. It haven't been a limit. Mm-hmm. So now in 2022, we're going to put a limit on it. It haven't been a limit for, I don't know how long. The great comedians of all times had no limits. Mm-hmm. But now in 2022, I guess we want to put a limit on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, here go my thoughts on this, right? First of all, don't do the crime, right? So that's the first thing I'm going to say. Because I feel like people are going to get triggered a little bit. So I want to start off by saying don't do the crime. I want to start that off like holding to that. Don't be nasty. Don't do the crime. None of that, right? But I'm going to give an example of a joke, a comedian who told a joke. Hannibal Buress, right? He told a joke about Bill Cosby, right? And that's the reason why I said don't do the crime, right? Because Bill Cosby is this topic that I know like people just super duper serious about, right? You know, which we should be, because he's a nasty, he did some nasty, egregious stuff. But Bill Cosby did it, and I think my facts could be completely off, but he was looked at some point for this stuff in the past, right? But Hannibal Buress told a joke about Bill Cosby, about some shit about Bill Cosby, but then he was like, ain't Bill Cosby the same dude that like raped like 35 women X amount of time back such and such, right? And then what happened from that is the investigation kind of came back around, right? So they started looking into, this came from a joke. So, but the women that were the victims, they were triggered by this joke, right? Triggered enough to be like, nothing ever happened from this, and which is justifiably so, right? It's not wrong at all about that, right? It brought back to light some egregious shit that Bill Cosby did, and it put him in jail for the nasty shit that he did, right? I want to make that part clear. But another part that I'm talking about is like, his joke wasn't just like, nobody was like, Bill Cosby, wasn't like, hey, no, it was just a joke. Like Hannibal Buress just told a joke. Yeah. Like, don't reopen the case. Don't, call these witnesses and shit like that. It was just a joke. That joke that Hannibal Buress told eventually ended up in Bill Cosby landing in jail again, in which he should have been for the crimes that he did commit. However, what I'm trying to say is, it, as much as it was a joke, it brought out some real shit, right? So when I'm thinking about T.I. and controlling the narrative of the crimes that he was accused about, if he did them again, whatever y'all did, if it was nasty, it was nasty, and y'all gonna have to, kind of be seen for the nasty stuff that y'all did if y'all did it. However, if he didn't do it, you got this comedian perpetuating it and bringing things to a light again that maybe if you didn't do it, shouldn't even be brought to a light or spoken about in the same manner in which Hannibal Buress spoke about Bill Cosby, which then ended up in all of these things being reignited and Bill Cosby, landing in jail. That's why I started off with don't do the fucking crime, because in that same context, if a comedian makes a joke and it is a joke and it gets looked into by the law and whatever like that, and it's like, oh no, he really didn't do nothing, you good to go, you didn't do the crime. But my question, so my thought process is like, when is it not a joke then?
Well, I mean, I think regardless, like if a comedian is talking about it, he's trying to. A comedian get paid to joke,
yeah,
right? So I'm going to assume when he was telling this joke, he was being funny or trying Hannibal to be Buress? Funny when he was telling his joke. Yes.
I don't when think he even thought
when he was telling
the
joke. So
reignite the whole shit with Bill Cosby. I don't even think he thought that was going to happen.
Exactly. So I'm always looking at comedians that's trying to make light of something that happened. That's how they do it, man. That's how they make money. They look at, I'm assuming they probably got somebody on their payroll that's looking at all social media and trying to find out what can we make a freaking joke from, or what didn't happen to be a joke. I'm assuming they got some kind of team like that probably. I don't know. But that's what they do, man. That's what they do. They make light of people's situations and things that happen in the world. So I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how you can.
I get it, and I guess I am convinced. I think, I think I am convinced, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Again, don't do the shit. You know what I mean? If you don't do the shit, then you would just find a joke funny and whatever. And that could be heavy handed too, because if I was accused of something that was nasty and like that I would never do, I don't know if I would want like it to be made light of, like in front of my face. And it's a chance that it could still come up and bite me in the ass because it's just a bunch of accusations. Like, I don't know if I would ever want to hear that said again, or if I want people to continue talking about it. But I mean, Michael Jackson had to go through that for years. And whatever, if he didn't do, whatever, but he had to go through it. A bunch of people had to go through that stuff for years. So, like every time a comedian might say something, you might actually trigger, like if it really happened, an actual victim, or if it didn't happen, just somebody trying to get you tied up into some legal issues or whatever. So in Bill Cosby's case, it did happen. It was nasty. He was wrong. He fucked up. In T.I.'s case, he's saying he never even, went to court for that. Like nothing ever was followed through. So he's trying to control that narrative. So I don't know. I guess I'm a little torn, but I do agree with you. Like a joke is a joke and stuff like that. But I guess I'm a little torn because it's recipients of the jokes, like whether it be Bill Cosby's victims who had to be like, think about that
revisit
stuff.
It.
Because that Hannibal Buress took their trauma so light that he could just bring it up in a joke, as a way to kind of like shade Bill Cosby, like, yo, ain't this the same dude that raped like 35 people, whatever. So that's revisiting. Then they had to go back through court, back through all that trauma or whatever. So I mean, it's just a weird thing when it comes to that, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it or whatever. And I'm anxious to see what other people think. A joke is a joke. I know, and I do agree, but again, I am torn because there are recipients of the jokes, whether it be the legal recipients or the actual victims or the people that's affected by not wanting this thing perpetuated more than it already is. All right, my next question.
And you guys speak up.
Yeah.
You guys speak up out there too, man. Cause we know people got differences on this, on the joke thing, man. I watch social media. We heard the slap across the world and all that type of stuff. And a lot of people had different opinions. So if you guys got a different opinion, please, hit us up.
Yeah. And one thing about that, right? Cause this is part of my next little topic, right? Whatever your opinion is, it's good, man. Like you have yours. Somebody else has theirs. It's nothing like, I don't like, because I'm about to get in this cancel culture a little bit, stuff like that. But, and that's part of what we talked to Ann Guyman about. It's like, yo, I hate when people, kind of don't get no grace for their ignorance, right? Some things people are ignorant about, but then there's other just concepts and topics that people just think differently about. Like they got different opinions, right? But we starting to get into the generation where we want to write people off because of their opinion about stuff. Like it's okay. Like we live in a world of people with varying opinions about shit. You know what I mean? And it's weird. So let me ask you a question. Do you think people should be stripped of their achievements after wrongdoings?
Ooh, good question, man. This is a layered question for me, man. And I'm gonna say this because it depends on what it is.
All right, let me give you just so you can have good context. Let me give you the context in which I'm talking about. The Grammys happened, right? And a couple people won awards at the Grammys that people didn't feel like should win awards, right? One of them, Louis C.K., comedian, who like had a string of like this wild, nasty shit, right? But he had a string of like masturbate, like forcing women to like watch him masturbate or whatever. So he forced women to watch him masturbate, and they was like traumatized, by this shit like that. Like, yeah, nasty, like you just beating off in front of these women, right? So that was like his like what Louis C.K. did. So he was one who won a Grammy for his comedy album or whatever. Kanye won 2 Grammys, right? So some news articles and stuff was posting that, like, oh my God, like the Grammy's so disgusting. Like they actually awarded like Louis C.K. Grammy and they actually awarded, Kanye a Grammy. I wasn't really talking too much about Louis C.K. because I don't really follow or the Louis C.K. Career. You know what I'm saying? I don't really follow Louis C.K.'s career, so I wasn't really talking about him. But somebody was just saying that like bad people shouldn't win Grammys or whatever like that. Like bad people shouldn't get awards or whatever. And I was just like something like that. Like people with issues and stuff. And I'm like, damn, like most of our musical like legends, like James Brown, like I could just go through the whole list of like John Lennon, James Brown.
Got shit that going on.
A lot of them had like shit. You know, Michael Jackson, John, like it's a whole bunch of like
drugs, something.
Like damn near all of them, right? So my question for him was like these award, like for instance, like you know, for the Kanye thing, like and a lot of this shit happened. Like he made the song, he recorded the song, he released the song. All that shit happened before whatever he's on a hook about, outside of anything that you disagree with Kanye about from like the last like 10 years already. But whatever he's on a hook about now, he created this piece of art that he won a Grammy for, which I don't think kind of stands up to even winning a Grammy. It was good, but not the best thing that he did, right? But before the Grammys, right? So the person like, yeah, well, Kanye shouldn't win a Grammy. But my whole argument was like, well, are we awarding like the person? Or are we awarding the achievement in the art? You know what I mean? And I say all that because at heart, like most of my core is like in love with art, like in the preservation of art, right? And the respect of whatever the art is, right? So it's like, if you award a motherfucker, are you awarding them for, sorry for cursing for the listeners, but are you awarding them for like, because they're a cool person? Or are you awarding them because they made the best song of the year or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so then the conversation graduated to taking people awards away when they do things, right? And my thought process for that was, what does that do? You know what I'm saying? Because so I was a young person that like started to fall for like film, right? So in me falling for film, I'm like, all right, let me look up the movies that won Best Picture of the Year from whatever year to whatever year, and let me watch them all, right? So the award for the achievement is like my documentation, right? So that's like my encyclopedia. That's what I go for when I'm trying to get the education, right? So that's my library, right? I go to the Oscars and I see who won Best Actor in 1989, and then I find the movie and I look at the performance to see, to kind of figure out like, yo, why did this dude win Best Actor in 1989? Now, let's say in 1992 he did some wild shit, right? If I'm studying to be like a filmmaker or something, it's still recorded that he won that award for that performance. So it's not going to stop me from, I don't know, it's not going to stop me from looking at the performance. And after that, I don't know what the award means to even take it away, but I don't know. I'm anxious to see what you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So my thought process is, first I'm going to give you my thought process on the Grammys and what we're talking about right there. Then I'm going to give you another different scenario, right? For this first scenario, it's a criteria, right, to win the Grammys. I'm assuming it is X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. That's what you have to do to win is
politics.
Yeah, it's there, right? It's about the music. It's about what they are doing. That's all it's about. Their creativity, what they doing, maybe sales, whatever it got something to do with it. That's why they are at that point. Not because what they do in a social life or whatever is about that song or that album or that whatever. That's what it's about. So I don't think you should be scripting that away from anybody or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing goes for the Oscars. Same thing. It's about the performance. It's about that, all that type of stuff. Now, the only time I think you should be taking something away from somebody goes back to, you remember the great guy, I think his name, the guy that was the bicycle guy that was winning all these Tour de France's.
Yeah.
They found out that he was doping or taking drugs and stuff. And that's how he won all that stuff. Lance Armstrong. So that's different.
Yeah, you gotta take that.
He was winning because he made himself.
You gotta take that. You gotta take that. Like, you gotta take that from him.
Yeah, you gotta take that. Yeah, so I got that. I understand that. But we talking about creativity. We talking about all this stuff that this guy done done. He ain't taking no drugs to make him a better rapper. He not taking that to make him, you know what I mean, nothing like that. So I don't think so. I'm not with that, man. I'm not with the fact that you're taking something away from somebody that made a bad decision in their life or whatever the case may be.
So let's Navy this. Let's Navy this then. You got Seller of the Year, right? Yep. Seller of the Year. This type of thing actually has happened at Commands before. But you get a seller win Seller of the Year. Next week, DUI. Issue on liberty. What you think should be the recourse?
The same, whatever he done on liberty, right then and there, that should be what he get. Whatever he got, I mean, whatever we're gonna do to him, he should go to DRB. We figure it all out, or whatever the case may be. Right there, that's what happened. Nothing he did in the past. You know what I mean? We're not gonna take your Sailor of the Year from you now since you got in trouble. No, we gonna handle this as we handle it right now. What you got Sailor of the Year for is something you did for an entire year and you won it. You got it. Congratulations. Now, if you fuck up after that, yeah, we're gonna do whatever you did. That's how we're gonna handle it.
Like, hey, you not the seller.
I don't think we should go back and.
Year. You might have been the seller last year, but you're not the seller this year. You fucked up. You can redeem yourself.
Yeah.
But now, are we taking the pictures off the command board or?
No, they Sailor of the Year, man. Look, I tell you what, man, and it's crazy, man. We had I went on a ship and I was at ATG, man, and a long time ago, man. I went on a ship and we had a DC-1. He was running repair division. He was a DSET coordinator, everything. We go on board. And we go on board and he has an R on his chest. Right? But he's running repair division. He's in DSET. He knows his shit. He made a mistake. Right? So what they do, they strip this DSET stuff away from him. They strip everything he got in division. No. Right? He's still doing it. He made a mistake. Yes. He was held accountable for that mistake, depending on what it was. He was held accountable for it. He had a restricted badge on, but guess what? That guy still setting up the leading by example, leading the way he's supposed to as a DC-1, doing his job. But everybody gonna be held accountable. You don't necessarily have to strip. Now, like I said, though, it always depends on what happened and all this type of stuff too, though.
Yeah.
But people make mistakes sometimes. But you don't just like take everything they did done in their Navy career because they made one mistake. It depends on the mistake they made.
Now, I want to know from junior sellers, like, so please hit me up, because I've seen it where like a junior seller might be like, man, that's the seller of the year, but this happened or that happened. Y'all let him get away with this, that. Y'all let her get away with this, that. And I just want to know from that seller, if it's just like hate, like if it's just like yo, I'm just like like just hating on you, or is it like a real reason why? You know what I'm saying? For a seller in that scenario, why you would say, yeah, he's the seller of the year, but this, that, or whatever, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it just like, yo, nah, I'm just looking for an out. I just want to have a reason to complain and hate him, or is it a real reason? And if it's a real reason, then what's the reason? Like, what's the reason why?
Yeah.
We not looking at this seller like, hey, this happened last year. I mean, this happened this year. They were seller of the year last year, and this just, what it happens to be at the moment, and this seller could redeem themselves and still be an influence and a better person, throughout.
Yeah, and that happens all the time too, man. Like that happens all the time. Well, we as leaders and we put our sailors in for something and whatever they win and all that type of stuff, it always some hate behind it. And then most time the hate comes from like, hey, like where are you coming up with this from?
Yeah.
Like, where is this? Who said this? Then you got you damn near have to open up a freaking investigation now, because we don't even know this. People come like, what? Where that come from? Who said that?
Yeah.
Then they clam up because they don't want to, they name associated with it, but don't talk about it then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't talk about it. Because now you're going to start rumors, you're going to start stuff going through the ship, because our sailor of the year now he done XYZ and the whole command don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like you think we that's one of the check marks is them getting in trouble and winning sailor of the year the same year. No, that's not the standard. That's not what we're looking for. We looking for the best, the brightest, the whatever the case may be, and that's who we make our Sailor of the Year. Not people who done got in trouble. So if we don't know, we don't know.
Yeah, and we got to stop holding stuff against people, for our own benefit, because that's what I think. Like some people would do, like, well, you're gonna give it to him, and blah, blah, blah. Like, so we got to stop holding stuff against people, for our own gain or whatever, like that. And that's on every side of every coin. As leaders, we got to stop holding stuff against people, because that's like we not preaching that. We preaching that, when somebody, I've never been a captain's mast and a captain, and I've been to quite a few because I was a semio. But I've never been to a captain's mast where a captain told somebody that they could never redeem themselves, whether they were being separated from service or just going on restriction. I've never been to, a captain's mast where the captain said directly after captain's mast, all right, they did the crime. We told them the time. Now it's time to get them in line. You know what I mean? I never been to a captain's mast, and I just made that up off top, y'all. But I never been to a captain's mast where that shit was corny. But I never been to a captain's mast, where the captain, they like straight up, be like, all right, y'all, it's time for y'all to huddle up around them or her. They might be going through something, and bring them back to where they supposed to be. And they charge that on the division, your divos, your chiefs, and stuff like that. So stop holding shit against people. They did something, they done it. Let's get past it. Because that shit, it messes people up more than you think. They living with that way more than you think. They going through that shit way more than you could ever put them through it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, hey. So I didn't do my book. We might have a guest pop in. I don't know. If she come in, she come in. If not, we'll talk to her whenever we're able to, because we keep kind of giving her the runaround. So, but if she pop in, she pop in. I hope she does pop in, but I don't know. But I do want to talk about my book real quick before we get into the hero. So my book that I read that I failed to talk about before is Sidney Poitier, right? So it's an autobiography of Sidney Poitier. It's called The Measure of a Man. And I think when it's, of course, after he passed, I told myself, I'm like, yo, Sidney Poitier meant like so much to a lot of movies, especially when it comes to like African-American like actors and stuff. He was one of the people who broke down the door for African-American actors and filmmakers and stuff like that. And then just film in general, America in general, what America looks like on film, and how people as Americans should be represented, whether it be like his interracial relationship stuff on film, or things that got to do with like some of the positions and jobs that he had and the roles that he played, or some of the responses that he made in the roles that he played. So the book is good, really good. Some stuff about it that moves slow in the beginning about his youth and stuff like that. But after he made it to Hollywood and stuff like that, the book was really, really good. The part of the book that stood out the most to me was he's like a popular actor at this time. He made some movies, he did some stuff, but he something happened. He was in an alley. He was looking for something. He was in like a little alley, and he's in Florida, and these cops pulled up on him, and they told him, matter of fact, he was walking down the street in Florida, but like, oh, he was hitchhiking. All right. So he hitchhiking, and, the cop pull up, right? So not a car, something he definitely didn't want. It was the cops, right? And normally somebody would be super happy, with a cop pulling up when you hitchhiking. Hey, officer, I'm trying to go such and such. Not in these days, though, right? And not in Florida, right? And not if you are a black person in Florida in these days. So the cops pull up, and they like, hey boy, get in the alley, right? He get in the alleyway, and they tell him straight up like this. What's up? What you doing out here? And like, give us a reason, not to kill you or whatever. He's, I'm just trying to get wherever I need to go. Oh man, hey, how you doing? NC1, can you hear us? Your mic is muted. Yeah, so
how about that?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay.
All right, that's what's up. Hey, so I'm about to finish, but I'm in the middle of a story real quick about Sidney Poitier, right? So the cops, they pull out a gun and they tell this dude, they say, hey, you could walk home, right? He like 50 miles away or whatever. They like, you could walk home, but we gonna ride behind you in this car, maybe 15, I might be exaggerating, but we gonna ride behind you in this car with this gun the whole time. And if you turn around and look at us, we are going to kill you. Right. So that's pretty much what they told him. So he had to walk home 20, I forgot how many miles, 15, 25, whatever. He had to walk home this whole time without looking back at all. And, unless he was going to get killed. It's funny that you come in here at the very same time that Damon's computer is having like the most technically difficult issues that it could ever have. You know what I'm saying? But how are you? You at work right now?
I am.
Yeah.
Recruiting. Yeah, we have late hours. Yeah.
So it's normal work for you, or you kind of like skipping out on your duties right now?
No. So we normally get off about 6, but I'm an LPO, so I generally get out of here by 6:37.
That's what I like to hear. LPO, last person off. It come with the territory. She said, "Hey, we normally get off at such and such, but I'm an LPO. Like, so this the time that I just leave late. You know what I'm saying? What's all that? That's all your stuff in the background? That's a lot of stuff back there.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to make myself look really cool for all the recruits. And
that's like a MCPON. That's like MCPON office status right there. So, hey,
nice.
Well, Damon just popped in, right? Hey, Damon, you good? Can we hear you?
Yep, I'm good now, man. I don't know what happened. Time she popped in, I popped out, man. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, it couldn't take the three of us, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So, but who are we talking to right now?
So I'm NC1 Erica Martinez. Currently at Intag Red River. I've been recruiting for about 6 years or so.
Mm-hmm. And you reached out to us because we ask a lot of questions, a lot of episodes, and we sometimes don't ever get the answer or know the answer. But you happen to have the exact answer that we wanted to know, and we wanted to talk to a recruiter, right? So at some point, you was like, "Hey, I got that answer, dumbasses. I could just provide you that damn answer. How come y'all never just reached out to me?" And I'm like, "Well, let's talk to you, And then like a lot of life happened. Like I think we were supposed to talk to you like February or something crazy, but so much happened, So, but it's good to finally have you here and be able to talk to you. And the question was Damon's question, and I hope he remembered the question. What was your question, Damon?
I don't remember the question. It was about. The question was about DMAP, wasn't it?
Yep.
Was it
DPEP.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I was. DPEP. I was asking. Oh man, what was the what was I asking?
You might as well just let NC1 rock, man.
Hold up. I had a question about it. I'm trying to think. Give me a second, man. Give me a second.
We got listeners, so I gotta do something while the listeners listening, man. Because I don't.
So I'm assuming. No, go ahead, NC1. I think of it as you go, as you go through it.
No, you're good. Yeah. So you guys were wondering about the DPEP program.
Yep.
So it's the Direct Procurement Enlistment Program. And basically what it is we use civilian experience and sometimes prior service experience to bring a person interested in the military in as a higher rank.
Nice.
So some good cases I've done to myself. So it works for non-prior service and it also works for prior service. I've only done it as a prior service. I've never seen it done as non-prior service, but I have heard of it being done. And so I had a sailor who got out as a CM3. He was out for a while. He stayed in the same field. And he was a foreman, so he did some supervisory experience. And he was trying to come back into the Navy, but he had one extra dependent, which made him unqualified for that particular rank.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we took all his CB stuff and we took all the stuff that he had done as a foreman and his civilian job. We wrapped it all together. We sent it into a package. I had resumes. You have to have 3 references on DD Form 370s. We took all that. We sent it up to the ECM and they actually approved him for E5. So not only did he come in after he'd been out for a while, but he also got promoted.
Nice.
So he actually ended up coming in a higher rank. So it's definitely an underutilized program. Not a lot of active duty recruiters use it just because it is very complex. It takes a lot of time, and recruiting is very go.
Is it so like a minimum, maximum window of time that you need to be out of service to be like eligible for it, or Or can you just?
So you do have to be out for 2 years if you're trying to like come back in. So basically, what they don't want to do is the Navy doesn't want to waste money training somebody. They get out and be like, oh, I don't like my rate, so I'm going to just come back in as another one because I have experience on X, Y, and Z. So you do have to be out for 2 years to be able to use the program.
Okay.
And then, so I had no.
I'm listening to you. Go ahead. No, you got it, Dame.
So I had didn't know anything about this program or anything. And this sailor was talking to me, one of my previous sailors that worked for me, and they brought it up and said they coming back into the Navy, and he's coming back in as a first class. And I'm like, first class? Like, what type of program is that? So they have a master's degree and they coming in as an IS, right, in the rate. And I was like, I was questioning the shit out of it because I think they got out as like a fireman. So I was questioning it. So I'm glad you is that something that can happen though? They can come back in as a first class?
It is, yes. So to be an IS, that's pretty dope because that's not an easy rate to even like qualify for, let alone come in as an E6 when you've been out for a minute.
Yes.
So we actually have like a chart that we use that specifically says like what the requirements are for the certain rank. So like for E6, he has to have 7 years experience and 4 of those years has to be supervisory. So he must have been like either working for, a 3-letter agency or a contractor or something like that. And he also has equivalent of that college. So all those things wrapped in together, he probably just had enough to be able to squeeze through. We don't see very many E6s get approved.
Yeah. No, okay. That's good though. I mean, go ahead.
Are you seeing a spike in like people wanting to join the Navy since the Top Gun 2 trailer came out?
Not yet. We're hoping.
Okay, that's what I'm about. Y'all probably gotta have like meetings about that one. Like, hey, they're gonna be coming.
I'm about to take all my future sailors to go see the movie. Like, hey, I need some referrals. Let's go. Like, y'all should be motivated.
How are y'all doing right now? How are we doing? Are we bringing a lot of people in right now over where you are?
So there's a lot of change going on in recruiting right now. So medically, we are using what's called the HIE. I think it stands for like Health Inter-Exchange or something like that. So basically, they used to not be able to pull medical records at MEPS. They now have access to about 80% of your medical record. So they will look into your full past. Which means that it's more of a complex process. Just because some people will come in here and they won't tell us everything and we won't know anything. And then they get hit at boot camp for like asthma or something, something that we didn't even know about. And then that goal cycles back to us.
Is that like mental health, more kind of like focused on like mental health things?
I'm not 100% sure. We literally just started it about a month ago.
Okay.
So there's been consistent changes from MEPCOM, just on like what's considered a simple pre-screen, what's a complex, what kind of documents do you need. So it's been really chaotic for DOD. So this is DOD wide.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as like so we've definitely seen our numbers go down on, who's actually getting in right now. But it's just a learning curve in all reality. It's just going to take us a little bit longer to get people in. And people are going to have to finally be truthful. So,
yeah. I mean, so you saying if they taking for example, they taking a certain type of medication, is it a certain time frame they supposed to be off that medication to come into the Navy?
Yeah. Okay. So it depends on the type of medication. A lot of times it's like 2 years. As long as you've been off the medication for 2 years, you should be good. Inhaler use, it's usually like 5 years. You can't have had any kind of asthmatic type of things in the last 5 years. So it just depends on what it is. So the DOD, they go off of the DOD 6130. Mm-hmm. So this giant manual is basically what MEPS uses to disqualify people. So once they're disqualified on a DOD level, then it gets routed to the branch level. So every branch has their own medical doctors that will look at things and say yay or nay. But that's also subjective, just depending on who the MEPS or who so we go through N33. So You know, sometimes you may have a good N33 that, you know, will let a little bit more stuff in, and some of them will just be like, nope, on everything. So it all just depends.
So it's a lot of contingency. Okay, well, look, I know that you probably trying to get out of the office and get home. I do want to apologize in advance because I think before we got you on, I said your name was NC1 Man. And I said
Man is fine. That's my maiden name.
Okay.
I go by both.
Okay.
I got one more question.
Did you make board?
I did.
Nice. Good luck. Got
Fourth time up. If I don't make it on this one, I don't know.
Good luck. I think Damon said he got another question for you.
I got one more question. So my son joined the Navy, right? So he's in boot camp right now to be an IT. But his rating he's supposed to be was a CTN, right? So he goes to MEPS and comes out of MEPS as an IT. Now, my gripe is this. Yes, he's a grown man. Yes, he's 18. But I feel like I could have, if I would have been there, he wouldn't have came out there as an IT. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some should have been said to the parents or something hey, we changing your kid's rating right now to be something else. That's not what we agreed with in the beginning. So I wanted to make sure I get that out there because he's supposed to be in a CTN, not even going on a ship at all, period. But now he's in IT. So I just want to put that out there. I'm a little upset about how that change happened. Yeah. You know, how he's going.
I don't know if that was a question, but right. I can't kind of explain. So you also have to keep in mind that, yes, you can say that you want X, Y, and Z, but also keep in mind that the Navy has pipelines, and just like in the fleet, we all have manning. So it may, and we compete on a national basis. All of the people going up to MEPS. So it all just depends on what the pipeline of that rate is. So if it's not available, it's because that pipeline is already filled.
So you have to wait.
It's really up to, you know, that's where it comes in with that report with the recruiter of, you know, making sure that, you know, if you're stuck on one particular thing, then it needs to be discussed beforehand. There needs to be a plan. You know, like at the end of the day, you know, like our job is to meet the Navy's needs.
Yes.
So regardless if that's a CTN or an IT or a Seaman Pack, whatever it is, like, you know, we have to also make sure that we're doing our job and making the needs of the Navy.
So the first part of that was me being the angry dad. The second part of it is like, should we be more involved as parents when they go in there into MEPS and they decision making in there?
I mean, so we deal with a lot of 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And the way that I look at it, like, so my wife is also in the Navy. Mm-hmm. She changed her rate 3 different times. She was a Seaman Pack, and then she was a SH, and now she's an NC. You know, I've changed my rate twice. I was a CS and now I'm an NC. So the way that I look at it is, regardless of what you think you want to do, what are your ultimate goals? What are you using the Navy for? Are you using it for education? Are you using it for, you know, experience? What is the core reason why you're joining the Navy? Because just because he's an IT doesn't mean that he'll never be able to be a CTN.
That's true.
But can he still meet his goals as an IT that he still wanted to meet as a CTN?
Well, he has no problem with what he's doing right now. I think it's just me though, really, but I just want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you want to know more about what's going on. And, you know, that's part of, so after they dep into the program, we do a 72-hour indoctrination. Mm-hmm. And what that's meant for is for us to get, you know, all snazzy in our dress uniforms and go actually have a meeting with the parents and the family and the future sailor to explain, like, hey, this is what you are, you know, this is your job. This is what you're going to be doing. This is your ship date. This is what's expected of you as a future sailor. And it's also a moment where the parents can ask those questions, like, hey, I have a question on this. How does this work? How is boot camp going to work? Am I going to be able to talk to my son all day, every day at boot camp? Those types of things. And we're kind of able to lay it out. So that way the parents feel more comfortable and they're not, you know, completely blindsided on what's going on.
Yeah.
So
most definitely.
we try to make sure that everything is as transparent as possible.
I'm only thinking that it's like the active duty senior chief dads that want to know all this shit.
Oh man, you'd be surprised. Yeah. So no matter what rank you are, you do not pull rank at MEP. Like,
I know, right?
You just can't.
That's true.
They're like, I want my son to be this, and I'm like, that's not how it works. He's colorblind. I can't make it in IT. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. That's
so, I mean, we work as much as we can, but at the end of the day, like, we can only do so much. We're not magicians.
Yeah, most definitely.
So,
and the guys here did a great job. So they did good.
And I want to thank you for everything you do. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank y'all for everything y'all do, recruiters. We got a little bone to pick with some recruiters, but we're not gonna pick it with you.
Oh shoot, I had a crappy recruiter.
Yeah, so we got a little bone to pick. But
yeah, no, and that's usual. Like I even on DGuts, like he says a lot of stuff about recruiters too, and I'm just like, man, y'all don't know what it's like out here. Like, come to the field for a year, and you be like, can you take me back to sleep, please?
Yeah, I kind of want.
It's rough.
Yeah, I definitely want to. But
I think both of you guys would be successful out here, though.
Thank you. Would you recommend this is a selfish question. Would you ever recommend our podcast to like somebody that wants to be in the Navy?
Absolutely. I think that, so what's funny is, so I just listened to the podcast with, was it Amy?
Ann Guyman?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually the one that messaged her about glass.
Oh yeah? That's crazy.
Right. So I was like, hey, it's her. I was like, oh shoot. But yeah, the thing that I like most about your guys' podcast is that you're not super like Navy.
Uh-huh.
And so it allows people to see that outside of our uniforms that we don't sleep in these and that we're actual people. Because you'd be surprised on how many civilians, like, they just think we're robots. They don't even think we have lives or like, that we literally are in uniform 24/7. So it's nice to have that breather for sure.
Thank you. And I appreciate, like I say, we appreciate your support. I know you have supported us. And I appreciate you being able to sit down with us right now today. And thank you for all you do. And good luck. Good luck this year. And that's all I have. I know Damon probably going to say some stuff. Well, I wish we could talk to you longer. Hopefully we do. But good luck this year and whatever Damon got.
Yeah, in the same way, thank you for being on the pod. We most definitely going to be looking for your name on the list that's coming up. But yeah, make sure anything that you want to talk about or you think we ain't talking about or whatever, you talk to somebody else or whatever the case would be, hit us up hit us up any kind of way. Man, we'll talk about that stuff. Make sure you're sharing it and talking, man. It's great, man. We love getting on here talking about everything. That's why we permission to speak freely. So we don't cage ourselves in. So make sure anybody want to talk about anything, we're ready to talk. And thank you again.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, NC1.
No problem. You guys have a good night.
Okay, you too.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, so I was talking about the book from Sidney Poitier, right? It seemed like you started having some technical difficulties.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It seemed like you started having some technical difficulties, and I think they might have stayed a little bit, but we'll work it out. But good book, really good book. I'll give it like a 3.5 out of 5, just because some of that stuff Sidney was talking about was like inaccessible to like somebody with my brain. What do you think about that convo, man? With NC1?
It was great, man.
Yeah,
great.
The mic is working.
Yeah, she's you can tell she loves the job, man. That's why I like talking to people who love what they do, man. It's really refreshing to see somebody out there put the hours that recruiters put in and still smiling and still having a good time doing their job. So that's very refreshing to see.
Yeah, man. She sounds like she knows what she's talking about. And she did a really great job explaining it. I was like, damn, man, we need her on the podcast more.
Yeah, she did. I'm glad she also helped me out, man, because I thought, hey, no disrespect for my guy out there, man, but I thought he was telling me one, boy, when he told me he coming back in as a first class, man. That's why I'm glad she came on and cleared that up for me, man.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. All right, man. Like, let's get into it. So normally we do it in the beginning. You know what I mean? We normally do it in the beginning. the hero of the week. Our last month, we highlighted a lot of our women warriors, and I also promised that we won't only highlight women warriors during Women's History Month. I do want to say that we'll spread the wealth a little bit more. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Who you got this week, bro?
Give me 1 second, man. I'm having some difficulties, man.
Yeah, Tellis Faro. I'll tell the people, his name while you pulling the stuff up. Give him some. Just let me know when you get it. But Tellis Faro de la Cruz, Trinidad, right? Born November 25th, 1890, New Washington, Philippine Islands, home of record, Philippine Islands, and this is gonna be a Medal of Honor that Damon talks about and is actually awarded for actions during peacetime. Service Navy Division, USS San Diego. General Orders, War Department, General Orders number 142, April 1st, 1915. So Tellis Faro de la Cruz, Trinidad. I still don't see a rank for fireman, second class, Tellis Faro de la Cruz, Trinidad. You got him, Damon?
Yeah, man. So so like you said, fireman second class. He was on board the USS San Diego. And the Medal of Honor action date was January 21st, 1915. He was one of the first Asian American to receive the Medal of Honor. And let me get right into the citation, man. So, for extraordinary in the line of his profession at the time of the boiler explosion on board the USS San Diego, 21 January 1915, Trinidad was driven out of the fire room number 2 by explosion, but had once returned and picked up R.E. Daly, fireman second class, who he saw injured, and proceeded to bring him out. While coming into to number 4 fire room, Trinidad was just in time to catch the explosion of number 3 fire room, but without consideration of his own safety, passed Daly on and then assisted in rescuing another injured man from number 3 fire room. Trinidad was himself burned and about the face by the blast from explosion in number 3 fire room. So this one was a little bit different when it comes to how we've been doing the awards, because this is like you said, this is in peacetime. This was doing a casualty on board a naval vessel. Yeah. But at the same time, he still did some of the things that we've been seeing in previous Medal of Honor recipients that we didn't talked about, with being selfless, right? Yeah. Disregard to his own life to save others. And again, one of the first Asian Americans to receive this. And it was done, man. He was born in 1860, man. So this is one of the guys that started a lot of this stuff up, man. And again, shouts out to him. Shouts out to his family. Most definitely a hero in all sense. Again, man, the things we always talk about, man, like somebody's being another person that's being selfless.
Yeah, I mean, and these actions not to be taken lightly, right? These actions that we watch movies, we see things, we watch different scenarios where that decision-making process goes differently, right? And nobody's to blame, right? So it's like you could watch something where, somebody would be like, yeah, the smart choice was the dog down the door, for like a flood, or the smart choice was this, or the smart choice was this, because you saved this compartment of the ship. You did this, you did this. Meanwhile, this guy's smart choice was to go into like burning engine rooms, or engine rooms that just kind of had a blast and save people, with complete disregard to himself, where he could have easily have not done that and nobody would have held it against him. Nobody would have thought otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And that's, to me, that's the risk versus reward part, or that's the kind of like what you leverage an idea. When you leverage in the fact that you could easily just go to safety, go grab a hose, go do something else, and nobody would think anything of it, but you put your life at risk to save somebody else. That's crazy. Like, that's really crazy in a good way. And I know I say it a lot. Crazy in a good way. To be that damn crazy. Like, yo, I'm going in here, I'm pulling these people out, and I know I don't have to. I don't have to. Ain't gonna be
by
no
any
skin
means
off your
necessary.
back.
Yep.
You know, but the thing about like a person like that, like you said, a selfless and a hero like that, is if he wouldn't have done that, he probably wouldn't have been able to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody else could probably sleep well walking past that engine room. You know, he probably wouldn't have been able to sleep. He already saved one person.
Yeah.
You know, he could have been like, yeah, I'll save one person. You know what I'm saying? He went back, right? He saved 2 people, right?
2 people,
yeah. He went back, he saved another person. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff there is to be admired and it's not to be taken lightly, and it's deserving of the Medal of Honor.
Yes, no doubt. No doubt, man.
It's deserving of the Medal of Honor. So I know we had a scattered episode. This episode, we talked about Navy stuff. We got to talk to NC1, which was great. We talked about T.I. We talked about Bill Cosby, weirdly.
It was all over the place
Louis
today,
CK,
but we hit some good shit.
COVID and a whole bunch of stuff. So, I mean, I hope this is one that you guys do enjoy. And I can't wait to see you again. And I can't wait for y'all to hear from us.
Yeah, man. Make sure you guys share.
Please.
Make sure you subscribe.
Please.
Holla at your boy.
If you made it to this point of this episode, that means that you love us and you care about us. And if you love us and care about us and made it to this point of this episode, please share this episode on your social media.
Share.
Thank you.
Caring is sharing, man.
Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring.
Same thing.